All right, everybody. Thanks for waiting. It is Tuesday night. This is the eve of 49ers Eagles week. Practice is tomorrow. So excited to get out onto that 49ers practice field for the first official practice of the biggest game of the regular season, at least so far. We can't put too much into this, but we can also acknowledge that this game is bigger than the other ones, at least the ones the 49ers have played so far. A chance to take a bite out of Philadelphia's lead for the 1 seed in the NFC. If you look at the probabilities of teams that have had a first round bye in the playoffs versus teams that have had to go the hard way, no first round bye and then road games to the Super Bowl, I mean, the difference is astronomical. Teams with a first round bye have qualified for the Super Bowl a little bit over 50% of the time. If you have to go the tough way, especially with a road wild card game, I think the 49ers will be in better position than that. But with a road wild card game, it's about a 10% success rate. So the 2021 49ers took the extremely hard route and they ran out of gas because they barely squeaked into the playoffs, right? The 2022 49ers got the 2 seed, but it still wasn't good enough. And I think that most agree, had they been able to play Philadelphia at home, chances are that game goes very differently. I mean, if just a couple things happened differently at the start of the Philadelphia game, such as the Brock Purdy injury, if that didn't happen, the game probably goes differently. Well, the 49ers have a chance to prove it against the Eagles. And I think the 49ers are better than they were last year, to be honest, at this point. And I think the Eagles are worse than they were last year at this point. So the 49ers enter Philadelphia as favorites, and we're here to cover it and all of the trash talk that is preceding this game. It's given us a 1990s 49ers Cowboys vibe. And the Eagles talked a lot of trash in the 1990s as well. Late 80s, early 90s, the Buddy Ryan Eagles. I mean, they invented the term body bag game. It was the Eagles against Washington. And there was a game in which Washington lost so many players. Like the Eagles Buddy Ryan said before the game that Washington is going to have to leave in body bags. And then like something like 12 or 13 players got hurt on Washington's side in that football game because, I mean, this was late 80s, early 90s type of football. So many players got hurt that the Eagles were taunting Washington as those players got hurt and left the field. Oh, we need another body bag. Send another body bag, body bag, body bag, body bag. The body bag game actually created or spurred the NFL to create the third quarterback rule. Because in the body bag game, Brian Mitchell, who was Washington's running back at the time, actually had to play running back, had to play quarterback for them because both Washington quarterbacks were amongst those on the body bag tally. So that was the Eagles. That was 1990s style trash talk, 1990s style viciousness out on the football field. The Eagles at Veterans Stadium were at the center of that. The league instituted the third quarterback rule. Then you fast forward to the 49ers losing Brock Purdy to the hit from the Philadelphia's Hassan Reddick in last season's NFC Championship game. And then the 49ers lost Josh Johnson due to a concussion. So they are out of quarterbacks. Their running back, Christian McCaffrey, tried to throw a pass in the second half. Sounds familiar to that body bag game, right? Well, the NFL passed another third quarterback rule this offseason. So the 49ers will now have an emergency QB. It's going to be Brandon Allen on Sunday against Philadelphia. Anyway, that's just one example of some of the parallels to the past. The other one is the trash talk happening. And there was a lot of trash talk that happened in the 90s, as 49ers fans should well know. I mean, anybody versed in NFL football knows about this rivalry of the 1990s. The back and forth was epic in 49ers Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson, and you could read this in the article that I wrote. It's the longest one I ever wrote in The Athletic. Jimmy Johnson is going to make it into the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor finally. Jerry Jones has finally mended that fence. Says on the radio, we will win the ball game, and you could put it in 3-inch headlines. That's what the Cowboys coach said. George Seifert, who is the 49ers coach, responded, well, the man's got balls, I'll tell you that. I don't know if they're brass or paper mache. We'll find out here pretty soon. So you got coaches talking about brass balls and guaranteed wins and all this in the lead up to 49ers Cowboys back in the 90s. Well, this time, you've got several months worth of trash talk between the 49ers and the Eagles, obviously with Deebo Samuel at some of the center of it.
He did.
What he say? He said
That they was going to
get
expose
exposed.
the Eagles defense. What was he saying about that?
Where's the holes?
Yeah, right.
Where are the holes?
No.
There's holes.
What's the
Where
holes?
the
It was some
The
wide
back
open
end.
plays now.
The back end. You got the all-pro and the all-pro.
The D-line make him make both of them all pros.
You don't, so
Besides Slay, I respect Slay.
What about Bradbury?
Trash.
Bradbury's trash? He didn't want to make all-pro.
Did you see the play that Brandon had? The second play of the game, he got hurt. Purdy got hurt.
Time out.
The separation, like, it's just like.
It's football. You going to make some plays?
Man,
you called him trash.
So Deebo Samuel, shortly after the NFC Championship game, straight up called the cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles, James Bradbury, trash. Deebo then doubled down on that because the Super Bowl was played shortly after that. That was a pre-Super Bowl interview. He doubled down on that when James Bradbury committed the holding penalty that essentially sealed the Super Bowl win for the Kansas City Chiefs. Deebo looked at one of my tweets because I pointed out that Bradbury had committed that holding penalty, and Deebo Samuel quote tweeted me and said, "See, I told you guys, I'm not taking back what I said. I think Bradbury is trash." Deebo Samuel had one more chance to take it back on Monday when a reporter asked him, "Do you regret calling James Bradbury trash?" And Deebo Samuel said, "No, I don't regret that." On Kay Adams' show today, "I don't regret that." The Eagles are talking a little bit too. The Eagles thought that the 49ers were complaining too much about losing their quarterback after the NFC Championship game last year. But those same Eagles were also complaining till the cows came home about the fact that they didn't like the turf in the Super Bowl, that they thought that it hurt their pass rush. So I think the moral of the story is if you lose a hard-fought game at the highest of levels in the NFL, in close fashion, you're probably going to have some regrets and you're probably going to talk about them. I think it's natural. But there is a level of animosity between the 49ers and the Eagles to the point where I don't think the 49ers really respected Philadelphia last year coming off that NFC Championship game. They thought the Eagles got away with one. I think the 49ers thought they were going to blow the doors off of Philly with their quarterback, with Brock Purdy, but then he got hurt. So the 49ers now, they have a chance to prove that they are indeed the type of juggernaut that can go in on the road into one of the most hostile places in the NFL and blow the doors off of a defending NFC champion. I mean, it's the kind of storyline that is epic, right? It's the kind of storyline that we saw in the 1990s in the NFL. This is the kind of stuff that a lot of people grew up on. And finally, we have a chance to recreate it here in 2023. I think 49ers Seahawks 10 years ago, right? The 2013 season. 49ers, Harbaugh against Pete Carroll and the Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman on the other side. That was a little bit like this. There was some pregame talk. There was some buildup. There was some history between the two teams. Although the 49ers and the Seahawks were divisional opponents. So they played twice a year regardless. And then when they faced off that third time for the NFC Championship game, that blew the doors off of everything, right? The Eagles and the 49ers don't get to play as much, but boy, are the stakes high here. And this might just be matchup number one of the season. This might go a long way toward determining where a potential matchup number two will be. Is it going to be back in Philadelphia or is it going to be in the Bay Area? 49ers would certainly like the Eagles to come back to the Bay Area like they did in that 1996 season, wild card playoff. Steve Young, part of the 14-0 win, 3rd and 1, quarterback draw, dislocated his rib scoring. Steve Young was running like a fullback, physical running back, taking shots from defensive linemen. Unfortunately, one of those shots dislocated his rib. It's an injury they didn't figure out until after they lost to the Packers the next week in the divisional round. So the 49ers and the Eagles have some history that goes back before last season's NFC Championship game. I still remember the goal line stand few years after that Steve Young run. This was the regular season goal line stand for the 49ers defense. I think Julian Peterson, the linebacker, finished that off with the interception. And then Jeff Garcia hit Terrell Owens over the top for 13-3. That's off the top of my head. That was probably in 2000 or 2001, maybe 02. The 49ers beat the Philadelphia Eagles at Candlestick Park. So I'm going to take off the Cowboys 49ers picture because that obviously isn't this rivalry. The Eagles play Dallas the week after. I'm just getting 1990s vibes from what's happening as the 49ers head up there back east as 2.5-point favorites. It is the potential Brock Purdy revenge game. I thought I had a text title for the Brock Purdy revenge game. And if I don't have a text title for the Brock Purdy revenge game, then I'll say this. Brock Purdy I had one right here, is overcoming San Francisco's one remaining weakness. Take a look at this clip. Brad at the SF Niners, he posted this from his all 22. Look at Bobby Wagner, 54. Bobby Wagner lording over Brock Purdy. He thought he had a sack. Oh, oops. He didn't have a sack because Brock Purdy flipped the ball out to George Kittle. Look, Wagner's so proud of himself. And oops. Purdy got the ball out. Celebrated a little too soon, did the future Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner. Even threw Purdy down with some gusto there. Has me thinking, how's that, the way they protect quarterbacks nowadays, there are some QBs who would draw a personal foul penalty if they got thrown down to the ground like that with that little extra zest. I'm not saying it should be one. That's just how the NFL legislates things. Bobby Wagner was so sure that he had notched a sack, that he had that swagger of a throwdown, but no, George Kittle had the ball behind him, and Bobby didn't notice until later. Some of the stuff that Brock Purdy is doing right now, maybe all of the stuff that Brock Purdy is doing right now, is absolutely mind-boggling. In fact, I think it was Brian Peacock, who runs a 49ers podcast, who pointed out every single XY chart that there is of Brock Purdy is performing as an outlier. And that's true. There's nothing where Brock Purdy is performing average or just good in. He is an outlier in every single aspect of what's happening. And I'm about to demonstrate that for you right now. We have the graphics ready. So why don't we check this out? So this is percentage of throws from a clean pocket and efficiency from a clean pocket. Brock Purdy has the lowest percentage of throws from a clean pocket in the entire NFL. He's way over here on the left. He's in between, like 27% of his throws are from a clean pocket. Other side of the equation, you have somebody like Derek Carr. He's got 50%. Desmond Ridder, 55%. I mean, these are quarterbacks who are decently well protected. Brock Purdy has the least clean pockets in the NFL. But when he does get a clean pocket, he's up there at the top efficiency-wise, right there with C.J. Stroud, who's having a great year. The thing about Brock Purdy is that he's also very efficient when the pocket isn't clean, which he has to be since he's overcoming the 49ers' one remaining weakness, which is pass protection. All right, I'm going to move over to another chart. We'll break it here. We'll put my face in here so you know we're moving over to another chart where Brock Purdy is an outlier. This is deep ball accuracy and deep ball efficiency. So the further to the right you are, the more accurate you are on deep passes. Brock Purdy's way over there to the right, only a couple quarterbacks further to the right than him. The further up you are, the more efficient you are on deep passes. Brock Purdy is the most efficient deep pass thrower in the NFL. Let this marinate for a bit. And let's call out these people that try to start the dink and dunk narrative. I don't know even who did it. Some irrelevant people started it. They tried to become relevant. They might have gotten a few clicks in the offseason. It's not going so well for them right now. They said that Brock Purdy was a dink and dunk quarterback. Well, let's check our notes. Okay, I checked the notes. The same guy that some people so smugly and confidently called a dink and dunk quarterback is literally the most efficient deep passer in the NFL. These people could not have been more wrong about this. It wasn't like they were a little bit wrong. Oh, I got that. Oh, that's funny. I got a bit. They said 1 + 1 = 12. That's how idiotically wrong some of these points were. So absolutely, it's time to bring it back. Because I'm sure some of these people have deleted videos. I'm sure they've, taken down some of some writing. I'm sure some people haven't. Some people are still like on the same board. If you want to be wrong for your whole life about Brock Purdy, that's your prerogative. You could be wrong. But I think that it's just so important in what I call a post-truth age, where like the truth just doesn't matter to what seems to be a large subset of people. I think it's so important to call out blatant falsehoods. And one of the blatant falsehoods was that Brock Purdy was not able to throw deep. He's literally the most efficient deep passer in football. All right, we got one more. This is QB's expected efficiency or just efficiency against man coverage and against zone coverage. Man coverage on the x-axis, zone coverage on the y-axis. Who's at the very top right? Oh, again, it's Brock Purdy. Quietly, by the way, Dak Prescott is starting to deliver a nice year. I know that his main production has come against bad teams this year. Didn't look as good against the 49ers, that's for sure. But just keep an eye out on Dak Prescott because the Cowboys play the Eagles a week after the 49ers play Philadelphia. But as you could tell, I'm going to cycle through these charts. In all of them, Brock Purdy is an outlier. Top left, top right, top right. He is exceptional. He's having an MVP type of season, and he's got a chance to flip a lot of narratives coming up on Sunday in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts on the other side. One thing that I want to bring to everybody's attention, just I know I'm throwing some random tidbits and facts at you as we prepare for this game. We started talking about the trash talking, then we went to Brock Purdy. Special teams, I think Philadelphia on paper is a significant edge, and the 49ers better make sure they play this at least close to a draw. Because the 49ers this year, it's the number 27 special teams unit. You've got Mitch Wishnowsky punting well. Jake Moody's not kicking all too often. I know he hasn't missed since the Minnesota game. And I know the 49ers score can improve if he kicks a few more field goals. Not necessarily that you want him kicking field goals. You'd rather just score touchdowns. But the coverage units for the 49ers have struggled this year. They've also lost their leading tackler in George Odom, who, by the way, had successful surgery on his torn biceps muscle today, according to social media. So there's your 49ers update. But the 49ers have to figure out a way to make sure their coverage is not leaking oil. Britton Covey is a good punt returner for the Philadelphia Eagles. He'll get some yardage if it's there for him. And this could be a game where field position differences on average of 5 to 10 yards make a massive, massive impact on the final score. So keep an eye out on special teams. A lot of people disregard it. The 49ers definitely were upset after 2021 when they ranked about this low. So they replaced their special teams coordinator, Richard Hightower. They brought in Brian Schneider, who improved the special teams unit last year, but it's taken a dip here in 2023. Oh, there it is. 49ers Eagles, the Brock Purdy revenge game. This is what I wanted to put on the screen. Well, look at this. Brock Purdy last week. He got the last laugh against Bobby Wagner. I got to play that one more time. That's from Brad, who does such a great job at the SF Niners. You could follow him on social media. By the way, those of you just watching the first snow in Prague, my mom is out in Europe in the Czech Republic, and this is what it looks like. The first snow has hit. Winter is coming. Winter is here. The famous Charles Bridge in Prague. I didn't mean to show you Eagles metrics. We can go to those later. But the first snow in Prague happening right here at the end of November. Good time for a 49ers Q&A. And then I got a jet because I literally have to get on a jet tomorrow morning to make it in time to 49ers practice. So I'm going to open this up to that 49ers Q&A, and then we'll go from there. I've got to make a banner for you, though. There we go. 49ers Q&A. How's everybody doing? Is Purdy the biggest NFL surprise this year? I think he was the biggest NFL surprise last year. I'm, to be honest, I'm not surprised that he's good. I'm trying to tell everybody since training camp, but a lot of people said I was biased for just watching tape and watching Brock Purdy practice and saying that he'd be good. I guess I was right. I guess I wasn't biased. But so I wouldn't say that it's a – I think how good he's been might have been a surprise. I mean, just the astronomical efficiency is insane, right? So, yeah, that is a big surprise. But I don't think that him being good in and of itself is a surprise. Go for broke, hates snow with a visceral passion. Although you got to admit that looks like a postcard, right? That looks really nice. You got to say that's beautiful. It was Taco Tuesday. Some friends made some great tacos for us tonight. We went over to their house and they had the full spread ready to go. So that was fine. That was really good. Do I think the 49ers fans will take over Lincoln Financial Field? I saw a projection today that said it was going to be 28% 49ers fans, probably from Vivid Seats, which is a lot for Philadelphia. Last year, the projection for the NFC Championship game was only 19%. So over a quarter of the crowd might be 49ers fans. It's a whole heck of a lot easier to plan for a regular season game since you know months ahead of time about what travel you're going to have to plan. The NFC title game is tougher because you're not sure until the week ahead of time, right? So I think it was harder for 49ers fans to make travel arrangements last year. But if they get 28%, holy crap, that would be that could be significant. It wouldn't be silent count territory for Jalen Hurts, but it could definitely be something to boost the 49ers. Kevin Johnson asked, do you think the fact that Deebo runs so hard and puts his body on the line every time he touches the ball makes up for the fact it doesn't seem like he goes 100% on the plays that he's not getting the ball? You know, I don't think this narrative about Deebo Samuel is true. If it's not like basketball where everybody's on the same constricted floor, so Steph Curry has to be moving without the ball at all times for the offense to be effective. Sometimes there are plays that literally go the opposite way where there is no situation where sprinting as the opposite receiver is going to affect the play. And I think those are the plays you're probably talking about because the tape that I watched, Deebo Samuel's playing his ass off down in and down out. He's one of the hardest workers in the entire National Football League. Is coming to this season in excellent shape and is playing really hard out on the football field. But thanks for the question. I really appreciate it. Krugen Bruce Disciple. Thank you. Appreciate you. Somebody talked about AJ Jenkins. That's kind of funny. AJ Jenkins. What a bust in 49ers history. You think I had an AJ Jenkins jersey? Not go for broke. This guy thought I had an AJ. No, that's in the San Francisco studio. That's the 17. That's not an AJ Jenkins jersey. I think we are already established that. Purdy's ceiling is Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, and Peyton Manning, I'm guessing combined. It's a pretty damn good ceiling. That'd be a Hall of Fame ceiling. All three of those guys probably going to Canton. Russell Wilson, yeah. I mean, he's been good for a long time, and he's playing well this year for Denver. So obviously Brees and Peyton Manning are Hall of Famers. I think Russell Wilson probably on his way as well. Kyle's wife not going to the game. Yeah, I think that she said she didn't like the Philadelphia fans, right? Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's a bit of a brutal atmosphere there, but Eagles are bottom 5 in the league in red zone defense. I mean, their defense is average to below average as a whole. So I think the number one 49ers offense definitely has a big advantage over Philadelphia. Steve says Purdy will never give up on a play. Even if all goes wrong, he will try to make things happen. I don't think that this affects the mentality of the 49ers being, are they up to 3 now? I didn't see that, but I don't think them being favorites of any kind affects the mentality in this game. I think the 49ers are so damn hungry to win this and exact their vengeance for what happened last year. You can toss point spreads and all that out of the window. What's important is that the 49ers are as healthy as they can be. They're rested. They've got a few extra days. And I think they're ready to go. I don't think they're going to be motivated or demotivated by the fact that they're favorites in this football game. Appreciate you, Leaf. That's awesome. Is the Danish DKK? Is that Denmark? I think so. Hell yeah. College of Marin. Maybe next semester again at College of Marin. In my opinion, is DB or offensive line the weaker point for the 49ers? I think O-line. I think DB, especially if Ambry Thomas continues to play the way they did against Seattle, you're you're looking pretty damn good there because you got that nickel situation figured out. O-line, it's tough because even on the front line, without any injuries, they definitely have some issues in pass protection. They're ranked in the 20s on the O-line based on any metric that you look at. Dennis Hunter says, this is the 49ers time. Brock Purdy is a monster. Yeah, the 49ers is currently constructed. They're the best team in football. But we saw last year, I think they're the best team too down the stretch. Stuff can happen. And this is a chaotic, brutal sport. And you've got to ride some of that injury luck throughout the course of the whole year. So you can never count anything before it actually blossoms. 49ers are favored because they're better than Philadelphia. I mean, they've performed better than the Eagles this year. It's not, I mean, the record is not everything. Especially if the sample is not full over the whole season yet, some flukes can happen. I think Philadelphia's won a lot of close games. Good for them. They've showed some grittiness, but the 49ers have blown a lot of teams out. They had a tough 3-game stretch with some key injuries. Let's see where these teams are after the full 17 games, with a key component being this head-to-head matchup. And the analytics suggest that the 49ers are the better team. There's Prague in the snow, but we can go through some of the analytics. You could see the Eagles have a below-average run defense and a defense that's barely scraping average. You can see that the 49ers are top in yak and top at stopping yak. The Eagles are only in the top 3 in stopping yak. They're number 25 in yards after the catch. The 49ers pass rush right now is playing as well or even better than it did in 2019 in its prime with Dee Ford. The 49ers defense right now is playing as the number 3 unit in all of football. That's a significant edge over what Philadelphia is bringing to the table. The 49ers pass rushing combination of Eric Armstead, Chase Young, Javon Hargrave, and Nick Bosa is generating nearly a 60% pressure rate. And it's wild. The Eagles last year had one of the top pressuring lines in the league. They've dropped down to number 35 with Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, Jalen Carter, and Josh Sweat. Javon Hargrave being with the 49ers this year, that defection has been moving from Philadelphia to San Francisco has really worked in the 49ers' favor. So I tweet all of these charts. For those of you who have trouble reading them, I tweet all of them. I try to broadcast every show in 1080p so you could zoom in on them on your phone. That's the best I can do. I'm not going to not show the chart. I'm just going to try to deliver it in as high of a res as possible. You try to, if you're watching your phone, you could try to pinch the phone and drag it bigger. But if you still can't read it on here, then check it out on Twitter. Hopefully that can work for you, where you could blow it up to be a little bit bigger. And then we have all the Purdy metrics, right? Purdy's been the most efficient quarterback in football. So the 49ers are meaning business this year. Thank you, sir. Go for Broke is one of our best, most common viewers. He's always on. I love it. Yeah, people don't talk about the importance of rest, but it certainly is important. I mean, I still remember the 49ers and the Bengals playing this year, and the Bengals coming off the bye, and the 49ers exhausted and didn't end up well for San Francisco. My favorite uniform combo, I like the 94 uniform, either all white or the red tops and the white pants. I like those throwback uniforms from that year. You want to run the play with Trent against the Packers? Are you talking about the Packers Week 3 game in 2021 when they swept Trey Lance, when it was the Trey Lance QB sweep? Or are you talking about the Trent motion play that they ran against the Cowboys? Because then they ran one against the Packers in motion. I think you're probably talking about the motion play where Trent Williams was like a freight train. All right, I'll tell Kyle Shanahan to run it. I'll get the message in for you this week. Steve thinks if the 49ers blow out the Eagles, Purdy won't get his due. Too many in the media are hung up on him being the last person picked in the draft. And whatever, I guess it's their right to be wrong. But I think those of us watching and talking right now, we're in the know. So all we can do is sit back and enjoy greatness while it happens, because Purdy has been playing great football for the 49ers. Talanoa Hufanga is a different injury than Aaron Rodgers. Talanoa Hufanga is an ACL. Aaron Rodgers has an Achilles. And Rodgers, I mean, they're talking about him being able to come back sooner. I haven't seen it proven yet. And no, Hufanga's not coming back this year from an ACL. Yeah, I've been posting this chart over and over again. 49ers have a low pass block grade, and Brock Purdy is the highest in efficiency. I mean, he's unbelievable. He is unbelievable. And this is a good thought to finish on. It is their right to be wrong, but we'll be correct on this channel. Everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great night. Time for me to pack up, fly to San Francisco. Big week ahead, and then a flight right back to Philadelphia. All the things that we do during 49ers season. Everybody have a good night.